Welcome to the Non-Superheroes Just Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad-related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. I hope you guys are doing great today. Hopefully, you guys aren't stressing out or anything like that, and enjoying your summer. Man, like always, guys, please make sure you like, subscribe, share. If you're watching on YouTube, press that subscribe button. But I appreciate you guys, like always. Now, with that being out the way, I've been trying to set this up for a while now, so I'm thankful to be able to have my boy Bryan on. How you doing today, man?
It's a rainy Saturday in Boston for about 2 months in a row now, maybe 3 months in a row now. So
It's just crazy.
just trying to stay dry.
Yeah, that's wild. So what I like to do icebreakers. All right, so I know you're a big sports fan. I know football is not that. I mean, it's far, but it's not that far. So what is either a your hottest football take, quote unquote, or if you don't have a hot take, what's your expectations for your Ravens?
Well, the Ravens had a much better offseason than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be like. I remember in January reading on The Athletic that Marlon Humphrey and Ronnie Stanley could both leave the Ravens.
Oh dang.
And then by the end of March, they're like, nah, just kidding. We scared you. I mean, like, even if Marlon Humphrey was, like, trolling about it on Twitter, which, is the most Marlon Humphrey thing ever, because what else does Bobby Humphrey's son do other than talk smack? When Bobby Humphrey's your dad, you have the right to talk smack,
Yeah.
first of all.
Oh,
Okay.
that's true.
So, for those Crimson Tide people, they know who I'm talking about very well and clear, okay? Um, but I'll be honest, and I say this to Boston fans all the time, I think the Patriots are a lot closer to winning a championship than the Red Sox and the Bruins are. And dare I say, I think depending on if Tatum ever recovers to 100%, say if it becomes like Amari Stoudemire where it's just never going to be the same,
Hmm.
the Patriots will probably have a better shot than the Celtics do at that point because Drake May's that guy.
Yeah.
I've been telling people for like 3 or 4 years, he's that guy, man. Like,
Yeah. No, that's true.
reminds me of like Phillip Rivers and Stafford, but like the best qualities of both, but a better
Mm,
athlete than both.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I think I agree with you. I think the Patriots are going to make noise. I actually think they're going to make the playoffs. So that would be, I guess, my hottest take, quote unquote. Is
And dare I say, I think Trey Hendrickson ends up in New England.
mm,
They have the money to spend. Vrabel wanted him in Tennessee a long time ago as a free agent. New England brought him in for a visit before he signed with Cincinnati.
mm,
And they also, I remember back in the day, they brought him in for a pre-draft. They were looking at him in the third round a couple years when he got drafted a long time
yeah.
ago too. So the Pats wanted him. Belichick wanted him. So like, Vrabel's cut from the same cloth. I mean, it's good. I mean, what happened with Gerard Mayo is screwed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Robert Kraft's son is running for mayor of Boston right now, so there's a lot of shenanigans going on with the Kraft
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
They're going for the Coolidge status right now in Boston, which I know I'm a history dork, so like they're going for
No.
the Coolidge status in Boston right now, and that's interesting, you know.
No, I know that's
Yeah,
dope. That's what I said, man. Like, in case y'all don't know, man. Like I said, when it comes to sports, I can talk to him, and he's gonna be rational. He's not gonna be too high, too low. Don't get me wrong. There is times where he's like, certain players, certain people, certain media. I know you don't mess with, right? Like
it's
that's a whole.
mostly media folks.
Yeah,
Like
right. Like I know you that drives you crazy, but
it's the ESPN, it's the ESPN posse, like pretty much.
yes,
Like
yes, man.
yeah.
So, now with that being said, man, like, on a serious note, I know your daughter. How old is your daughter now?
So she's 3. She's about to be 4 in September. So she was
Okay.
born pretty much towards the latter end of the COVID era there, September 21.
Wow.
And Tufts, actually crazy enough, Tufts Hospital, which they have a deep connection with the Boston Bruins because Cam Neely's Cancer Foundation,
Mm,
they sponsor one of the pediatric units at Tufts that Bella's also stayed at
wow.
for other health issues. So like, shout out to the Bruins, Tufts in the heart of Boston. Um, It's crazy. You have Brigham Women's, Mass General, BMC, and Tufts pretty much all in like a straight line. If you drove far enough in Boston, so like you get four of like the six best hospitals in the world within 4 miles of each other. That's amazing.
That's
So like
great.
you couldn't have a bad choice.
Yeah, yeah,
But I gotta give a big shout out to the Tufts Hospital NICU team. They are a blessing. They were awesome. The whole process. We weren't the only ones going through it,
yeah.
but you wouldn't tell the difference because like they were really on her. She was born like 2 pounds 8 ounces.
Oh wow.
Scary. So basically didn't have a third trimester, no baby shower. Like it was crazy. Of course, I worked in an emergency room at the time as a like
Yeah.
a registry clerk, so I had a little more idea of the process, like the whole like medical process than most people in my position do. Being a first-time dad, but then again, like I was stupid enough to watch the Teddy Roosevelt documentary the week before, and just to refresh people, so Teddy Roosevelt, way before he was president of the United States, governor of New York, being the Rough Riders badass that he was, his wife, who was the love of his life at Harvard, died giving childbirth to his daughter Alice, who became quite a very famous figure in the 20th century, and especially during the Depression era, where she was bickering with her cousin Franklin about everything that he did. Everything, because that was like a family war for a while. And then to lose the mother, and then his mother dies the same night. So like, and Alice barely lives because the umbilical cord was like choking her. So like between all that, and I'm just thinking to myself, oh my God,
Yeah, yeah.
Teddy
Especially
Roosevelt's cursing
after,
me, man. What the hell
yeah,
is this? But everything worked out. But like that anxiety is got to be haunting. And thank God for modern medicine. Is such a blessing.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, I don't even know. Like, it was not, any
So
woman that's been through like any woman that's been through a day of labor knows how painful it is. As a dude, I can't even speak to a fathom to that. But
yeah,
then to deal with 9 days of that, going back and forth between like Taunton and Boston's like an hour, hour and a half away. That was a lot of like commuting back and forth, and it was stressful. Thank God for Apple Music. I sort of rediscovered my love for metal again during that process, and it's crazy. I'm wearing like a Bleed from Within shirt. I grew up listening to like Nas, DMX, and Rakim, and now I'm listening to like Gojira and Knocked Loose, and like you know what I mean. I kind of
yeah.
like I went from being the only white dude at certain concerts to now like
Like, all
surrounded
right.
by crazy white
Yeah.
dudes. So like I pretty much became like it was a different way to deal with stress for sure. Like
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
So
Yeah.
you knew because you worked in the hospital, so you already kind of knew, like, basically when you first found out she had to go to NICU, like you already probably expected that thing. You already kind of knew, like
So
you
the
knew.
hospital I worked at didn't have that kind of unit any longer. So I'm
Oh,
like, okay, this has got to be like it's got to be pretty like this. That means she's gonna be there a while. Like she was born I mean, most babies are born like what 5, 6 pounds,
yeah,
7 pounds. I mean,
yeah.
I knew a girl I went to high school with. Her son when he was born was like 9 pounds or something like that. I'm like, oh my God. So like that was like a quarter of the size of that when she was born, which is just like now you look at her and she's like a walking, talking socialite. Like she'll literally make friends with any kid that walks in there. Like it's just
Oh,
it crazy to see the growth
yeah.
between like the whole process. It took 3 months for us to bring her home because she went to two different hospitals.
Mm,
And the second hospital she went to, and I'm not throwing any shade at Brockton Hospital, but Brockton
yeah.
Hospital actually flooded the week after she came home,
Wow.
and they were closed for 8 months. Well, longer than that. I want to say 8 months or longer than that. And that is like in the heart of Brockton. Brockton's like probably one of the only places in Massachusetts that truly resembles what a city is for people that are outside of Massachusetts that lived
Yeah.
in cities. Brockton's one of the few places that like resembles like cities that you see around the country.
Mm,
And to have a hospital close in the dead middle of like a urbanized zone is bonkers. Like there was a lot of people in Brockton, and there was already two, and then that
yeah.
one hospital just got bombarded with patients. Like it was crazy wait time, 8 hours to get in the emergency room there. So I feel for those people, especially now with healthcare being infringed in the country.
Yeah.
Um, there was another big hospital that closed in Dorchester, actually, Carney Hospital. So like that was a whole thing with that. And they were another place that like serves a certain community that isn't that a lot of people don't drive or anything like that. So I had the ability to at least commute and have the now we have a train, but like I had to drive an hour and a half back sometimes depending on the traffic to go do that. Now for those people that live in California, LA traffic has to be horrifying. I only know Boston traffic. Boston traffic sucks. Okay. If I didn't know the city as well as I did for the last 14 years of my adulthood, I would be scared to drive into the city. Like absolutely
That
scared.
ain't gonna work.
So,
That's crazy.
yeah.
So then, because I'm thinking, right, like, what were those? Because you said like basically 3 months, right? Like that's a long
Yeah.
time. So what were those early days like for you, bro? Like emotionally, mentally, and then I'm thinking, because like you said too, it's basically during like the end of COVID. Like we're trying to get some type of normalcy, but it's not really normal, right? So like, how did that impact it too? Like, or like, were they cool? Like, did you have those nurses was like, hey, no, we're cool with you doing this or doing that? Like, how was that?
Well, I knew one of the nurses at Tufts from college because
Okay.
I went so I went to Curry College in Boston. That's like basically the resident nursing school. Like 60% of the girls that went to college with me went for nursing, and then another 25% went for teaching. So pretty much like that's the people I went to school with essentially. I didn't really keep in touch with a lot of people after college, but I happened to bump into her, and
Mm,
she was like, "Okay, it's a good team," and I'm like, "Okay, well, at least I know firsthand. Like, okay, I know what's going on." But
mm,
either way, like you see how everything is so like is such a structure to it. Everything's like a well-oiled machine.
yeah.
And then when we left to Brockton, it was a smaller unit, so it was only like 5 children in that one unit. Sometimes it'd be one or two nurses, but the NICU at Tufts, there was like a lot of staff resources. Like
Mm,
they were totally accommodated, and they had like counselors there to help people go through it. They had like assistants for like programs and things like that.
mm,
So there's all kinds of resources, and I mean, especially where Tufts is in the middle of Boston, between like Chinatown, Roxbury, the South End, and then also Dorchester now not really having a hospital in that borough of Boston. So they're serving like a very wide diaspora of a community. Never mind the people that transfer in from out of the state, because Bella's mom originally she's from the Cape.
mm,
So add an extra 35 minutes to that drive because you have to go all the way down 2 highways. So basically on the south coast of Massachusetts.
dang.
So it's a long travel. I think
Yeah,
she was airlifted actually before Bella was born too from Hyannis all the way to Boston. So that was kind of like a lot to deal with. And keep in mind I was working while this was all going on.
mm,
So like I had to basically leave work and then go stroll right in to the city. I got there before she did, and it was just yeah, it was a surreal experience. But we got her home before Christmas that year, 21,
okay.
and that was the best Christmas present ever. Um, the first 6 to 8 months, after that were a bit of an adjustment, of course. But now, like everything is just with her. I mean, she literally is just. She, we went to like the Tufts did this like NICU evaluation thing, and
Mm,
she was like literally like either right at where she should have been if she was born normal or above the two
gosh.
times that we brought her. So like cognitively, they say that babies fall behind for the first like 2 years when they're born preemie.
Yeah,
She never exhibited any signs of that.
that's a
And she
blessing.
had the early intervention for a while. She had all those resources. I mean, I tell people all the time, especially fathers, the resources that are available, even if you feel like it's not necessary, like
Mm,
the more the merrier. The more resources, the merrier. I mean, um, we benefited from always being able, and we always took Bella everywhere we had her too. So like, Bella was used to, she never fought us to get in the car. Um, the only fight we have is to put clothes on in the morning. She fights me on it. She'll like try to run away and play hide and seek. But that's the only fight I have with her. She's a perfect child. Amazing. I know I sound like I'm like,
no, no,
but
bro. At the end of the day, man, you know what I mean. Like this is your baby. This is,
yeah,
she's special. She's amazing. The fact that she was able to, like you said, because she was able to, meet those milestones or pass those milestones. Because that's what I was gonna ask you. Is like, one, was there a certain milestone that she hit that like really gave you I guess, comfort in the sense like, oh yeah, she's gonna be good. And then like before, maybe even before you got like, especially probably maybe I can't put a time limit on it, but I'm sure like the first 2, 3 months, whatever, before y'all got her home, right, there was like that uncertain. You were uncertain about some things, so like, what did you? I guess what helped you push through that uncertainty or that fear? That's my first question. And the second question, I guess, would be is like, what was with that? What was like that milestone that gave you hope? Like, okay, she's good.
So the one story I tell about, so she was still in the NICU. I think she was like 3 or 4 days old, and this girl, literally, keep in mind she's not even 3 pounds. This girl's tried. She hears her mother's voice, and all of a sudden she's picking her head up and staring right at us. At
Mm,
4 days old, under 3 pounds, and I'm just like, we got a menace. Nobody's telling this girl no. We're in trouble. And damn right we are. But I will say this, it's not that I'm not bashing any mother that loves the newborn phase. All the mothers out there that are obsessed with the newborn phase, I get it completely, okay? I work in the court system and I get it. I see the newborns come in sometimes and I get it. I love it. I love newborns. My favorite phase is right now. This like 2, 3, 4 year old age. I
yeah,
love it. This is the best.
yeah,
The fact they can communicate with you. I mean, yeah, the attitude, it's gonna happen. But you know what? A little personality is never a bad thing.
no,
But
no,
like when they start wanting to be independent and doing things for themselves, and then you realize, you know what? This is crazy. You realize how capable people actually are. And she just always is willing to jump up and do things. Like she saw a kid fall in the store a couple weeks ago and I took her and she literally gave a kid the helping hand and I'm just like, "Oh my God, this girl's like got instincts like right on the fly." Um But yeah, she just like amazes me. I took her out to this wings place one time with a couple of friends of mine from back in the day, and she like literally fit right in like she knew them her whole life.
that's dope. That's dope.
And then she took my bone-in wings and ate the bone-in wings, took like completely, and I'm stuck with the boneless ones that I got her. So like, I look like a fool over here. But like, and even the
Oh,
buffalo, I don't know. It's just amazing because when I was younger, I was like thinking to myself, I couldn't see myself having kids. I didn't think it was for me. Like, I don't know, like I would never see myself as like someone that's, because I always felt I was like immature. I'm like, I'm the kind of person that likes to go out all the time and have a good time. Like
yeah,
I'm a literal certified concert junkie. Like I could do a whole podcast of all the shows I went to, the experiences I had. Like I shared them with you, Sean, some of them,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
the Nipsey
yeah.
Hussle experience was one of them. Like being able to go to some of those shows, it's unreal. Like live music is one of the greatest things ever. And I say that as a big sports fan. I'll take a live festival over like some of the big playoff games unless it was my team. Like if unless I was going to the Super Bowl, NBA Finals, World Cup final, like I already saw Portugal win the Euro, so I got to see like
That's dope.
Ronaldo hold up already. So like I've seen all my teams win. Maybe that's just me being a Boston sports fan, Sean, but like I've seen all my teams win. At this point, I want the thrill. Like
Yeah, yeah,
the and that's the greatest thing. Music actually has been such a helpful thing. Like anything with art.
mm,
We're about to sign Bella up for horseback riding actually.
oh, okay, that's dope.
So like just getting kids involved in different things and getting them involved and being like, oh, I want to try that. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we should try that.
Yeah,
So like, her mom does like the rock climbing that she's been to and she loves that. We took her to gymnastics for a while and she loved that.
that's dope.
Um, we're probably going to get her involved in sports at some point, but she's taken an interest only soccer. She loves watching basketball.
Hmm.
I mean, just like her dad. What else is new? Um, because we started watching a lot of the girls' basketball games. And then
Okay,
her cousin, who lives with us as well, she's also getting into basketball too.
that's dope.
And it's just like it's amazing because when I was her cousin's age, her cousin's 10 years old. So when I
Yeah,
was her cousin's age, I was already watching like the 01-02 Celtics trade away Joe Johnson and break my freaking heart. Ugh. Oh, I hate the Celtics for trading Joe Johnson away. Um, yeah, and it's just all that. And of course, being a Celtics fan and watching the Celtics grow up, too, watching the Celtics group grow up, it's an amazing experience to share with other people and be like, I've watched this team for as long as you guys grew up. So it's like it's a crazy experience, but an Apple Music shout out to the Rockabye Lullaby channel. They have like all kinds of different bands. For the country people, they have like the Zach Bryan and all that. For the metalheads, they have like All That Remains and Sleep Token and Bad Omens and they have all like this is what she falls asleep to. She literally asks specifically for the Sleep Token lullabies,
That's funny.
and she actually knows which songs they are. It's really freaky. Um, but yeah, and then we're gonna take her to Hailstorm in August. That'll be her first concert.
That'd be dope, bro.
So
No, I like that, and so also, so it sounds like too. It sounds like one music obviously was a big thing that kind of helped you some, and then it sounds like too like super early, like you said, 4 days old. She's holding her head up, kind of giving y'all that look like, yeah, don't gotta worry, I'm gonna get through this. You know what I mean?
yeah, and keep in mind like King's Disease 2 was playing on repeat for me at that point.
Oh, okay, okay.
So like there was like one of the songs I can think of. I could think of the beat, but I can't think of the song right now because it's been a while since I jammed out to Nas. But actually, it's Rare, and I'm just having the instrumental of Rare in my head, and I'm like, oh my god, oh shit, and that's what's like replaying in my head.
Mm,
And not and shout out to Nas too, because anytime you need some wisdom, that's good music for that.
true,
So
true.
that's a good time too.
No, that's dope, bro. I love it, man. So I wanted to ask you too, like, what I guess how has it been for you? What's your perspective as far obviously, you guys are co-parenting and stuff, but like what shift for you or like what does that look like for you, like being that single father, you know what I mean, when
Hmm.
it's your time and like some of the challenges you face cuz right like you said, like there might be times where you're trying to get her ready. She's like, no, she wants to play hide and seek, but you might have something else you have to do. Like, how do you, I guess, manage all that? When it comes to work, fatherhood, your own personal,
Yeah.
you got going.
Especially in the job I'm in. I mean, geez, I work in the probate and family court. So it actually makes things so much more interesting from that regard because I'm literally helping people as I'm dealing with, and not really dealing with it, but like when you're going through the process, and anyone that's going, and I say this all the time at work, anyone that's going through the process for the first time, obviously Massachusetts is different than other states, so
Yeah,
buyer beware. But I mean, once people understand like the simple procedures of how the court works, obviously there's a lot of TikTok content on
yeah,
both sides. The whole gender wars nonsense, yeah, don't get sucked into that because that will literally drive you bonkers. And of course, we deal with that
hmm
on our end. And I know people treat us like customer service reps, but we're really public servants. And
hmm
again, like there's structures, there's systems, the things that have to work. There's plenty of resources for people to get help, even without legal aid. So like that's also that. Um, Of course, me having a little background knowledge, that part of the process was a little easier. Having people to talk to and ask questions to about that is also really super helpful. Um, but also at the same time, like putting the child first
hmm
is the most important thing, and I can't stress it enough. I've heard it from judges, I've heard it from attorneys, I've heard it from magistrates, I've heard it from judicial staff. I mean, you hear it from anybody, and even like probation, anyone that you encounter in the whole process. And this is for anyone that's going through it. Just trust the process. Now I know obviously some people get wronged by it, but if you're doing the right thing, 99% of the time, it's going to do right by you. And that's the way I always believe in it. Maybe I'm a little naive, but like you just got to trust the process. And obviously like in the heat of the moment it's tough for people, but at the end of the day, if you're not going to get along with the other parent, the court isn't going to help you make that other person get along with you. Like, I can say that point blank because I hear it a lot every day. Now, as someone that's also studying to go to law school, it adds another element of thing to that because now it's like, okay, now you see how these people are approaching it. So you're like, okay, like this is the way they're going about it. And then you look at how really, especially in the court that I work in, a lot of I think most things can be solved by mediation and being able to work with the other party consistently because it's a civil court. Like that's how some of the higher courts work. They try to mediate and get a settlement because they don't want to have a full trial, especially when you're going to like a superior or another district court and all that. So like studying the process and preparing for law school also is like part of the reason why I take this very seriously, but also at the same time the priority has always been Bella. But also at the same time, and I don't mean this in a selfish way, but you also have to take care of yourself. And I also said this to Bella's mother too. You have to also make time for yourself. You have to also be the best person for yourself, because if you're not, it doesn't matter who you're with. You know, I mean, even Hollywood celebrities are miserable. Millionaires are miserable. I mean, plenty of stories. So at the same time, if you're not being a genuine person, the best person for yourself, then you're not going to be the best person for other people.
Mm.
And it took me a long time to realize that. That sometimes, like, you could be as genuine as you want to somebody, but if they don't see things your way, you can't make them see it that way. And sometimes it comes off a little cold, but protecting your peace is more valuable than trying to make someone see things your way.
Mm. That's real.
So,
No, I
and it's
like that,
just, that's the unfortunate part. Like, I couldn't tell you how many people I've had in my life that I've had to just move on. And, you know, as much as like you want to revisit that, but a lot of times it's like, you know, I've already made X and X a stride. Like, I can't go backwards.
bro. Yeah.
So
No,
it's
that's
just,
real.
yeah. But that's why this year, like, you know, I've decided, you know, I'll just go to a couple of concerts. And being a metalhead, fortunately, being a metalhead, concerts are cheap. I mean, I would have loved to have gone see The Weeknd or like, you know, Kendrick Lamar, but I've already seen Kendrick in the past, so maybe the incentive's a little driven there. I saw Kendrick a long time ago. But like being able to go to those shows would be great, but at the same time, I get experiences. So like next week on Juneteenth, I'm seeing Sleep Theory,
Mm.
and that's amazing because that's like a brand new band I got into during this whole process as well. So like being able to like deal with the pressure of being a dad, being able to, you know, having a job, of course, that takes a lot of, that can be a little emotional some days,
Yeah.
but at the same time, coming home and make sure that you can separate that from the other. But also like communicating with the other people, communicating with the people, even communicating with your children as young as they are. Like Bella's 3 years old. I can communicate with her and she can go, okay. And she's actually like so appreciative that I'm like going out of my way to talk to her. Like, I don't, I mean, maybe it's weird for me saying this, but like, she'll literally have a full-blown conversation. She'll tell me what she wants for dinner. She'll tell me what she did for daycare her whole day. She'll tell me like who she played with, what she played with, how she did it, and she'll even tell you like, oh, it's right after lunchtime. So she doesn't get the concept of the time, but she literally knows, okay, so I had lunch at this time, so it had to have been after that. Um, and at the same time, like, we always took her everywhere. Like, a lot of weekend days going around the whole city of Boston. We would like go down Newbury Street when they closed Newbury Street off, and she would like be walking around the whole city, and then she'd be knocked out by the time we get in the car driving home an hour. Like, and the girl don't nap either,
Yeah.
which for those people that have children that don't nap, I feel your pain. But it is so awesome when she goes to bed at 8 o'clock at night, because then you have the whole night to just go relax. You know,
Yeah, that's
it's the
dumb,
best
bro.
thing.
I want to ask you, like, how, because, like, how has your daughter inspired you, bro? Because, like, especially after all the things she's overcome now, at the end of the day, she's just doing it, right? Like, she doesn't know. She's like, all right, like I said, like, your daughter's a fighter. She's a warrior in my
Hmm.
eyes, right? So, like, but, like, just seeing her and, like you said earlier, those milestones she was able to accomplish or surpass or whatever, like, how has she inspired you?
You know, not everything has to be so serious. And I know it's weird for me saying that as a father, but like I think sometimes like the spontaneous silliness that can be children just tells you how pure they really are. Um, you know, not to be so tense about everything. Like she's just like, "Oh no, Daddy, I'm joking. I'm joking." And then she'll like want to watch like funny videos of other kids her age on TikTok. And she goes, "Oh, I say that too." And it's just it's bonkers to me. But like another thing too is like at the beginning, me and her mom fought about and this is like one of the communication differences. We fought on the TV shows. Now, I always had Sports Center. I was the kid that grew up at Sports Center in the background, doing homework, doing everything else. I'd literally have Sports Center on mute, music on a speaker, and doing whatever I'm doing. That's literally how I work. I work in chaos. I don't know. I don't know how to tell people. Okay, maybe it's ADHD. I have no idea. She comes in and she sees me do that, and she goes, "Whoa, whoa, too much stimulation." I'm like, "Hold on, hold on. First of all, the TV show that's on, it's not like now I'm not really like a Coco Melon or a Caillou or like
Okay.
I'm not a fan of those shows. Now, I have Apple TV, so Frog and Toad, highly recommend.
Okay.
Stillwater, I think, is the best kids show on the planet right now, not named Miss Rachel.
Okay.
Like, I hold Stillwater to very high praise. A lot of Chinese proverbs in the show, a lot of life lessons. Every episode's like a very valuable life lesson.
Let's go.
Um, of course, you can't hate on the Peanuts, Snoopy. That's an OG classic.
True.
Um, she likes the Scooby-Doo series, the Smurfs. Shout out to any of those old Boomerang cartoons, the Smurfs. Like, any of those 90s, now, for those 90s kids, Bear in the Big Blue House, Roly Poly Oly, this is what she watches. I'm basically like reliving my childhood through some of the shows that she's watching. So it's awesome in that regard. And then my youngest brother is like, oh my God, this was my favorite show as a kid. I go, I know, I already lived through this once. So it's like it's crazy with kids because then when you show the stuff that was on back then,
Mhm.
and then they go, oh no, these shows are better. Like, and then Spider-Man, the Spider-Man series that's on Disney, the little Spidey and Amazing Friends, the cartoon, she watches that too. Like, that's basically it. She doesn't watch a lot of variety other than that, but like, we keep it fresh. Sesame Street also, but like, we don't have HBO Max anymore, so like, we've been,
Okay.
yeah. But Sesame Street also is awesome. Love
That's
that.
awesome. That's dope,
I used to
bro.
have like VHSs of all this stuff too, so like, my dad collected. My dad was a music collector too, so.
No, that's dope, bro. I love it,
Anything
man.
80s hair metal and 70s like hard rock, he pretty much has in cassette or CD. So
Dang.
yeah.
So that's where the love of music comes from, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's dope though. Okay, so I have two more questions for you. So the second to last one is, um, if I guess like let's say, well, how your daughter's 4 now, so or about to be 4. If your daughter could listen to this episode, let's say 10 years from now, right? What would you want her to hear or know about what you went through, or what you think of just everything you went through with the NICU and the uncertainty at that moment?
If she knew the amount of emotional turmoil that her mother and I went through,
Mm,
um, especially for her mother. Her mother was, that's she's gone through a lot herself,
mm,
and she's an incredible person in her own right. So, um, just being airlifted to a hospital before you were born, so she could say that she's been in that. Um, she was like a few weeks old walking by Fenway Park.
mm.
So like she got to experience Fenway, the garden. Um, she was gonna have a very like awesome life experience. Hopefully 10 years from now, she'll be able to go to kids and say, well, my daddy takes me to this,
Yeah.
and then start fights with the kids at school because that's how it is. Um, but yeah, like I think the main thing is just like she really is the thing that keeps us going, the
Mm,
two of us, and we both talked about it all the time. Like she's really the true motivator for us too, and everything that we've kind of done, even like especially in the last couple months while we're still trying to work um, a lot of our things out, especially schematically. She's just the driving force. Like right now, we're talking about preschool with her, which I'm just like, oh my God, she was just born. I'm already talking about preschool. Then again, like when my brother introduced, my niece to me too,
mm.
she was around 4 or 5 years old. So like now it's coming, oh my God, that's how old my niece was when she was, like, it's crazy. Um, you know, because time flies by and you still see that person, you still see that kid as the way they were.
Yeah.
There's still moments I'll look at Bella and I still see Bella as like the newborn baby, you know.
Mm.
And then there's just like, not that and again, love the newborn phase, but I think this is the favorite phase of
Yeah.
being a parenthood right now is this because now you find out what they really love.
Yeah.
You find out what they really like, and of course, like being a girl dad is just an extra element of it because you know, the sass and the attitude just comes with everything. And you know, I mean, this girl was singing "For Whom the Bell Tolls" in a diner by Metallica. So like, she just that's that she's the life of the party. I think she's gonna just be a life of the party type. You know, we're gonna see what happens.
No, absolutely, man. That's
Yeah.
dope, bro. So, how? I guess my last one would be like, how do you define, strength as a father, and like, how has that definition probably changed since she's came, right? Because you might have one way of looking at it as far as the strength as a father, as a man, to now with that, and then side note too, just seeing like the joy that you have, you know what I mean, and through it all, bro, it's dope because it's like, you know, something like you say your daughter kind of helped you, I guess, as helped you with as far as like, not everything has to be super serious all the time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I can kind of take this with a grain of salt or whatever. But with that being said, like, yeah, how do you define the strength as a father, bro? And like, how has that definite, or maybe it hasn't. Maybe it just now is defined as what it is. But if it has changed, how has that changed?
I think more so in the beginning, just like my God, look at from her being like having like a light shine on her because her belly Reuben's too low, from being monitored 24/7, from going through you know the first time that she gets like shots of the like now she'll tell you where she's going. She can tell you she's going to the doctor. She's going to get this done. Like the whole process. But I also think like when she starts talking is also that was for me like the greatest thing because I was a kid that had speech issues. So I was wondering how that was going to affect her. Didn't affect her at all. She's
Mm,
literally like she has so many words. I remember like even when I was mentioning that Tufts thing before, they gave us a list of like words that like she knows like way more words than kids her age know.
mm,
And then she was able to use like 2-syllable words as a 2-year-old, and I'm just like, whoa, 3-syllable words even now as a 3-year-old. Like it's just bonkers to me. And then even she'll watch like certain episodes, like especially Frog and Toad and Stillwater, which again for parents I highly recommend. If you have Apple TV or get a free trial and have to use it, watch Stillwater and Frog and Toad because the kids will be addicted to it. And they also have like the little stuffies, their book collections. It's a whole 9 yards. It's awesome. Um, and she'll literally tell you the part of the episode that it is and what's going to happen. She'll be like, so like Frog and Toad make a cake. And she goes, oh, Frog is messing up that cake. Toad is getting a little frustrated. So like, it, and it just brings the joy in us because like being, I mean, I'm 32 years old. I remember those like Saturday morning cartoon experiences, and those were fantastic. And for Bella to experience that, it's unreal, especially in today's society where like everything's so different. Kids are growing up so differently than the way we did. Like, I still remember not having a cell phone until like probably the 8th grade, and now there are people with cell phones at like first or second grade. Like,
true.
and that's a lot of the things that like, well, am I prepared for that? No, but I'm gonna have to be.
Yeah.
If that ever comes up. But thankfully, my brother being a stepdad to my niece, obviously, you know, so we can always kind of bounce off each other if we need like assistance with certain things. Having like an understanding with Bella's mother and being on the same page, like how we want to like do certain like especially with like what activities Bella's doing, keeping her constantly involved in things because
Yeah.
again, once they start building like a pattern, they're gonna want to stick to the patterns. But you keep exposing them to new things, and they're gonna be like, oh, this is what the world really is. So the more and that's where more of those creative minds, and especially for like me and her, like I have always had writing as a hobby. Her mom's always had like drawing as a hobby. Um, so like being able to combine like that artistic interest with some of the things that she's now getting into, which is now, you know, she again, I think, like I have a feeling that if she ever gets involved in music, she's going to be a drummer. She just
Mm,
has like I remember putting her on a drum kit. We did like some music class for like a month or so, And she was just naturally, she knew how to put her foot right on the pedals. She had like her drumsticks exactly the way they were held. Like the drum instructor went up to me and goes, I think she's a natural. I go, and we're gonna hold off on that for the time being.
Yeah,
But
that's a
like
good thing.
it's just yeah, like I always say that all the time. As a kid, I always liked doing different things. I always liked reading certain things, documentaries. I always liked being able to find the next bit of knowledge to know. Um, Finding out that like there's certain opinions and then there's like conflict, being able to like differentiate what other people are thinking and keeping like, okay, maybe where's the middle? And of course now with school becoming a topic, and it becomes an advantageous topic, especially in co-parenting situations. I'm not prepared on how we're going to handle that situation. But at the time being, I know that wherever situation we put Bella in, she's going to thrive because socially, she's very communicative with us. And she also will stand up for herself too. Like I saw another kid fell to the ground one time at the playground, and she was like, "Hey, that's not nice, by the way. I'm told that that's bad." And I'm like, "Oh my God, she's telling other people she's bad." Oh, so like, and I think if kids are able to stand up for themselves, then I think they're ready for school. But like,
Yeah.
she's been in daycare since the very beginning, which that was tough as well. Especially with how expensive it was, like 265 a week for daycare for a long time, and that's not a pretty penny.
Yeah.
So, thank God for credit card balance transfers. Thank God for that. Um, and we just take care of business. Like we do it for them. That's the motto. We do it for them.
I love it, bro. No, that's dope, man. So, oh, actually, too, before I want, are you still writing those articles and stuff too, right?
So I've been putting the LSAT first.
Okay.
So like in the past I've done blogging. I've been trying to do more of like I've been trying to get the personal show off the cast, but I'm trying not to like pay for like a subscription or anything because in the past
Gotcha.
I've always done that. I'm not trying to do long format podcasting anymore. Like I know I could talk for 3 hours at a time, but like I'm not gonna just load 3 hours of podcast. That's just a lot of work, and
Yeah.
it's a lot to deal with. And plus, the priority right now is being with Bella, and
Yeah.
and and also like studying for the LSAT that I put off for way too long. Trying to take the test in August, so like that's going to be an amazing thing. Gives me a
Okay.
reason to go back up to Boston for school, hopefully. Yeah, Suffolk and Northeastern are going to be calling me pretty soon once I apply in September. So like that's kind of the plan right now.
Okay.
But in terms of like I'm still gonna get this YouTube channel off the ground. It's just like obviously you look at the pink background. This is the room my daughter sleeps in. This is like the best chance I got to record. So we're gonna have a
Yeah.
Pink Pony Club environment here,
Man.
if it's gonna work out that way.
Yeah.
But like with the NBA draft coming up, especially with the shenanigans that's gonna come on, definitely
Yeah.
gonna have some content on that. The
Oh,
Club World Cup with FIFA. Um, yeah, like I mean, it's
so
still
you,
going. It's just I have other I'm not gonna frustrate myself over like
no,
not
no,
doing things
absolutely.
my way. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. I
No,
used to get so frustrated because I'd want things to go a certain way, and if I didn't, even if I'd listen, I used to do like whole 1 hour recordings. If I didn't like a 5 minute snippet, I would
uh,
re-record the whole thing. It would
that's
be,
crazy.
I was a menace, yeah. Like it got to the point where it wasn't even fun doing it. So I had to like kind of backtrack a little bit,
Yeah.
and then now it's just like, what am I doing? So maybe like the YouTube topics and doing that, doing things social media wise, like I love the whole, like, especially with SSAW, like, that was a fun, like, we had Full Court Press, we had Reform
Yeah.
Hooligans, we have, shout out to the Diamond Talk Baseball, and then, the Cover Zero, which I love listening to Cover Zero. Those guys are just, it's football talk different than even the other blogs I've been into, the draft content, all that stuff. And I did that NFL draft content for years. I still love college basketball, football, still do all that. It's just being a dad became like the priority. So like
That's
if I don't have
priority.
time
Yeah,
for
bro.
Bella,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to have time to dedicate to all that. And I'm not going to sit on a computer
Yeah.
while she could be having fun. Like I'd rather go out and have fun than just sit on a computer all day.
Yeah.
And then the
No.
time to myself is super valuable too.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to find a balance because you could drive yourself insane trying to have like a perfect product, you know?
No. True. True. No. True, bro. Well. I'll say this, y'all, for those watching or listening. Like, the stuff he does have, or when he does drop it, when he does get it going, I'm gonna make sure I put it in the bio and all that so y'all can check him out, support what he's doing. Because as y'all see, he's definitely passionate about sports and music too. So if y'all ever have questions or something like that with music or something like that too, he will be the person ready to debate you for sure. Um,
So the thing is too, um, I am going to be putting NBA draft content. I'm going to have a whole thing on the Celtics, on how the Celtics could go, the three different paths the Celtics could go down,
okay.
um, including a couple of names that have been linked to the Celtics, which has been kind of fascinating. I know people just don't care for if you don't care for Boston sports, I apologize completely. I am totally sorry. I can't make you like me any more than you don't, but it's okay. Um, I get it though, because as a Ravens fan, during the Patriots dynasty, that was such a painful childhood. Oh my God, painful. And I'm sorry for the people that grew up in Taunton with me, but that was painful. And then when the Steelers won too, oh, those Steelers Patriots games were the best. Because I'm like, can both of you lose? Like, um,
That's funny.
yeah.
No, bro, I love it, man. I want to, real quick too. I want to just give you your flowers, bro. Just because, at the end of the day, man, I love your joy, your energy. Even when we do talk, and I know there's times where it's like, some like life be lifing, right? Like there's just stuff coming up. You still try to have a positive attitude, man, which I love, and I know your daughter probably has that great quality as well, man. So just keep doing what you're doing, bro, and I thank you for even just coming on to share your story, because I mean, at the end of the day, there's many of us. I mean, obviously affects the women for sure, but to hear a father's perspective, like dang, like this is how it is from the father's side, as far as that's scary with the NICU. You don't know what's gonna happen, how long, till you get your child and all. You know what I mean? Like I can only
Yeah,
imagine,
and
like
even
3 months seems
even
like
like
forever.
modern medicine, like even modern medicine, like you would think how far modern medicine's come, but like childbirth is still not the safest medical like operation. I don't even know if you call it I don't even know if it's right to call it an operation, but like childbirth can be dangerous because like there could be things that happen, there could be blood clots, there could be
Yeah,
certain underlying medical conditions that happen to people. And also keep in mind too, like people could just now working in the emergency room, I've seen this. I'm not going to go into detail for legal reasons, but like we've seen situations when I was working those 1 a.m., 2 a.m. shifts, and people would magically say, "Well, I can't make it to a hospital. It has a maternity ward, so we're giving birth right here."
wow,
Happened a few times while I was working in the ER, and then they would have to ship those people out after. But like that's got to be a scary experience
yeah,
also because this is another thing I stress being more so as a history buff and a political and someone that's like stays in tune with politics, like the attack on healthcare in this country. Now education obviously is in the forefront because of everything going on
yeah,
with who's in charge and who he put in charge, but then you have the attack on the healthcare system. Now, people that are familiar with Stewart Medical Group, they just had like a big lawsuit in multiple states. Now, Texas being the main headquarters of where they're located,
yeah,
Pennsylvania so like with all these hospitals closing, you're having settled communities, like large communities, Dorchester being the biggest example of this in Massachusetts, in my opinion, where now those people have to travel beyond their means in some cases because not everyone drives in Boston, especially with the limited parking there is in Dorchester. You have to go all the way to BMC, which is 2 miles away. But if you don't have a car, 2 miles is not a cakewalk,
mm,
not for everybody. And then the ambulances, there might not be as many resources for ambulances with less hospitals. So like the resources for medical staff in general are now being lessened. So this is just an attack on general. And you know who it hurts the most is the people that need the help, which is vulnerable mothers and vulnerable children, which in my situation during COVID, it was great that everything worked out the way it did. But I know that in the privileged world we live in, it could not have gone in a different part of the world, in a different part of the United States even, that could have been a very different outcome. And I
yeah,
have to also understand that and be very thankful for that
yeah,
because that at the end of the day is the greatest thing being able to I mean, as I said, Boston has like four of the top 10 hospitals within a 2 mile radius. Like
it's crazy.
and shout out to Tufts. Like they were a hell of a team, and I know a lot of things have happened at that hospital since then. And Chinatown itself, a lot of things have happened too. But like, um, it's just being able to go there. The staff was easy. The getting around the building. There was a pizza joint right across the street that was like pretty good for greasy pizza. So like, um, you just take every day for what it is, which is just one step at a time.
No,
You
that's
know, and
real,
that's
bro.
all you can do.
No, I love it, bro. That's real, man. And again, I appreciate you, coming on, man, and I appreciate you guys for listening, watching. Make sure y'all subscribe again, share. Shit, if you know any sponsors, y'all, you know what to do. Let me know. But with that being said, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. I'll see you guys on the next one.